So, if you don't need anything...
I wasn't in your way until you stopped, dumbass.
Okay.
Our investigation found that the Phoenix Police Department violates the rights of people engaged in protected speech, including retaliating against people who criticize the department.
Do you remember this video I did in June of 2023? It was called, "Is There a Right to Call a Cop a Dumbass?" That video showed Phoenix Police Department officers slamming a man into a police cruiser and arresting him just seconds after he insulted a police officer.
So what was it exactly I did?
I already told you, obstructing police operations.
But the car wasn't stopped until...
Well, that incident actually made it into a U.S. Department of Justice investigation report, finding that Phoenix PD officers unlawfully arrest or use force in response to criticism, insults, or perceived disrespect during daily encounters, and that often within seconds, officers there react with force to verbal slights. Was there any accountability for these two police officers that were involved in this specific case that now is memorialized in this very important report? The answer to that is actually insane.
This is one instance where we can't count on the police to police themselves. Our findings today reveal very significant and severe violations of federal law and the Constitution.
Before we get to the details of the DOJ report and why the actions of these two police officers were so egregious, I have to first tell you about Good Food, that is the sponsor of this content. Ever feel like cooking is a full-time job? Enter Factor, your ticket to culinary freedom. Factor delivers chef-crafted meals right to your door. No prep, no mess, just deliciousness. From keto to vegan, Factor's got your dietary needs covered, and everything's ready in just 2 minutes. Factor meals eliminate the hassle of prepping, cooking, or even cleaning up. Simply heat and savor the good stuff. Why spend hours in the kitchen when you can just spend minutes enjoying gourmet meals? Factor's meals are not just good, they're freedom. They're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. That means more time for you. With Factor, you get your life back. More time for what you love, less time slaving over a stove. Change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. Ready to reclaim your life? Skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor's cheaper and way more delicious. I actually order it all the time. And you can get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders using my link. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. Since August 5th of 2021, the U.S. Department of Justice has been engaging in an ongoing pattern or practice investigation of the Phoenix Police Department, because in addition to this particular issue, there have been so many problems there. And this is actually what I used to do at the Department of Justice, is investigate pattern or practice police misconduct. And when you do that, you have to be able to point to all these different events, all these different instances where this police department had violated somebody's civil rights. One of the major findings that they made when the report was released a couple of months ago is that the Phoenix Police Department retaliates for speech protected by the First Amendment, just in general, but also they can't help themselves just during daily encounters. And that's unconstitutional. Arizona is in the Ninth Circuit, and the Ninth Circuit has affirmed that even though the police may dislike being the object of abusive language, they are not permitted to use the awesome power which they possess to punish individuals for conduct that is not only lawful, but which is protected by the First Amendment. That's from Johnson versus Bay Area Rapid Transit District from 2013. The primary incident that the DOJ cited in their report to show that the Phoenix police are retaliating just during random daily encounters was this case. This is what they said. For instance, while this investigation was ongoing in 2022, Phoenix PD officers slammed a man into a police cruiser and began to arrest him seconds after he insulted an officer. The man confronted the officer to point out that police were not helping unhoused people across the street.
Can you help me out with something?
What do you need?
There's a bunch of people that need help over. You guys help people, right?
What do you need?
Do you help people? I'm asking you.
What do you need?
No, I'm asking if you help people.
I'm asking asking you what you need.
Oh, there's a bunch of people over here that are dying in the heat and they don't have any food or water. Could you do anything about that?
As the man complained, the officer told him that by arguing, he was, quote, obstructing police operations.
Over there for them.
Oh, there is. But you guys just hang out in parking lots. But I thought you guys help
Do you
people.
need something?
I thought you guys were the ones that help people. I know, I need your attention.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I got it.
You're obstructing police
I am?
operations, yes.
Oh,
so you
I
need to
am?
get out of the way of my vehicle.
Well, you're not even in it. I was knocking on your window to get your attention.
Yeah, getting in my way. It's called obstructing police operations.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to a call right now.
The man laughed and called the officer a dumbass. Immediately, the officer grabbed the man's arm and slammed him into the police cruiser in order to arrest him.
So if you don't need anything,
I wasn't
you
in
need
your
to-
way until you stopped, dumbass.
Okay. Stop.
So was it the dumbass?
No. It's because you're not listening. Let's go.
So what was it exactly I did?
I already told you, obstructing police operations.
But the car wasn't stopped until...
When we spoke to the man, he told us that he had multiple cuts and bruises from the encounter and continues to experience nerve damage from his injuries over a year later. He explained that he sometimes changes his route to avoid passing a police station. I'm moving around the city much differently, he said. As I understand it, the way this first came about is because there's this huge homeless problem in Phoenix, which the DOJ report also acknowledges and discusses all of the constitutional violations that the PPD engages in against the homeless population there. Back to this incident, this individual who, by the way, his name is Kenneth Ronald McDonald. He sees this police car just parked there, and the guy's being a typical government employee, right? He's sitting there in his car doing God knows what. He knocks on the car door and he begins to express his First Amendment free speech. If you have nothing else to do, basically, why don't you go help the local homeless people down the street? This is where the retaliation comes in. That was, I believe, Brian Alvarado. He then radios his buddy, Christopher Turiano. Also, apparently, he has nothing else better to do. He drives over to the spot specifically just to mess with Kenneth Ronald McDonald. And that's where our body cam picks up. So you can see that it was an absolute lie by Officer Turiano that Kenneth Ronald McDonald was obstructing his police activities in any way.
Yeah, see, when you came up to my car, okay, one, you're posing a hazard to me driving because I might hit you. Number two, you stopped me in the middle of my work. Okay? You see how that works?
Turiano drove over there just to park in front of Kenneth Ronald McDonald and to mess with him. And we can also see that right before the arrest took place, Kenneth Ronald McDonald was actually in the process of turning away and was not trying to obstruct this officer in any way. Now, part of the retaliation here that I don't think I even got into in the last video was that even though it was against PPD policies to forcibly take suspects' fingerprints, they did that in a violent way to Kenneth Ronald McDonald, just sort of in retaliation, even though it was against their policy, just completely ignored their own rules.
Turn away from me.
What?
Turn away from me.
Why?
I'm going to take your fingerprint.
I'm not going to give you my fingerprints, man.
It's not up to you.
I know, but I'm just not going to.
Well, it's not up to you.
Okay, I know.
All right, we'll pull you out and we'll force you then.
I'll get out.
Okay, we're going to force you.
Force me all you want.
I was trying to be nice.
McDonald was initially charged with aggravated assault, criminal trespassing, and obstructing government operations. I believe the felony aggravated assault was for allegedly assaulting Officer Christopher Turiano here, who is seen in the body cam footage literally doing the opposite, assaulting Mr. McDonald to try to forcibly take his fingerprints that he's not allowed, according to their own policy, to take. Then the prosecutors, who are at the root of the problem here, because they've allowed this situation to fester and they support the situation, prosecutors moved forward on the aggravated assault charge. Did they even watch any of this body cam footage? Do they even care about the Constitution whatsoever? Supposedly, the basis for the assault charge by these scumbag prosecutors was Mr. McDonald's finger moving over and touching Turiano's hand on this body cam footage. So, I mean, this is retaliation, or was retaliation, by the prosecutors as well. But it would never get to trial. On the morning of trial, after a jury was selected on this bogus aggravated assault charge, Maricopa County prosecutors just abruptly dismissed the charge with prejudice. The judge had ruled the day before that past excessive force misconduct by Turiano, who was already notorious for violently attacking protesters in Phoenix, could be entered into evidence and would be fair game for the jury to consider in their deliberations.
The report that we do have is an incident that happened over 20 years ago. The state doesn't believe it should be able to come in this trial.
Similarities in the case are they're similar. They're very similar. And the 20 years could be seen just the other way. I mean, it means that the pattern still exists after 20 years and nothing's happened. And that's why I think it's important.
The fact that the officer was on the Brady list is relevant, and the court will deny the request that precluded from testimony in this matter.
And then overnight, prosecutors claimed that they had just learned that the other officer involved, Brian Alvarado, had been recently caught falsifying timesheets for off-duty overtime. In other words, he had been caught lying. Both of these officers, Alvarado and Turiano, both with a history of misconduct that was so egregious that it was going to have to be disclosed to the jury, according to the judge in the case. Serious enough that prosecutors were so concerned that they just dismissed the case.
The state no longer believes we have a reasonable likelihood of conviction, so it's in the interest of justice to dismiss it.
I mean, it was a bogus case to begin with, but it got like ultra bogus, even in their eyes. There can be no question that these two officers, Alvarado and Turiano, violated this man's First Amendment and Fourth Amendment rights. It's right there on video. It was found to have occurred by the U.S. Department of Justice. The criminal case against Kenneth Ronald McDonald was dismissed in part because both of these officers were so untrustworthy and incredible, like too incredible to even put in front of a jury. Even against Kenneth Ronald McDonald, acting pro se, representing himself. He didn't even have a lawyer. His case was instrumental in demonstrating the abuses, the constitutional abuses that are taking place, that have taken place in Phoenix by the Phoenix Police Department. And the report is massive. You have to check it out. I will link the report. I mean, it goes into everything: excessive force, racial profiling, their challenge coin about shooting protesters in the nuts, like everything. I'll put all that at the linked blog post and the first pinned comment. I also want to thank our sponsor, Factor. I really do use their products. It really is fantastic food, and appreciate them sponsoring the channel. This is not the first time they've sponsored videos on this channel. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.